Lincoln has gotten us information on the new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus, a good-looking vehicle that is it enough to change Lincoln's fortunes? I don't think so, but let's take a look at what we know about it, and I'm going to give you my first thoughts on it. Welcome back to All Cars, y'all. I am John, and if you've been a fan of the channel, I have been on a little bit of a Lincoln tear recently. I really like this brand. I like what they're doing, and I kind of like their cars, but their sales aren't following. And I recently did a video called What the Heck is Wrong with Lincoln? And of course, the day that I uploaded that video, Lincoln introduced the new Nautilus, which means that I've gotten a lot of comments and questions saying, what do you think? And so it's time to jump into it. I will say before we jump in, thanks for being here. We have repainted Command Central, so if you hear a little bit of an echo, I don't have drapes up and other sound deadening around here. I know it's a little echoey. Please forgive the sound quality. I will be working on it in future videos, but I hope you like it, and hopefully it makes me look a little less yellow. But getting into the Nautilus, I really like the vehicle, and it's interesting. This has been a long-lived vehicle based on the Ford Edge, and it's very interesting to think about because it's been such a good vehicle that over the years, multiple reviewers have asked the question, is it actually better than the Lexus RX, which is one of Lexus's best-selling cars? And the answer has always been kind of no. The Lincoln's always just kind of missed the mark. And I think they do with this one as well. Don't want to be unkind to it, but we'll get into why in just a minute. The Lincoln originally had I don't know, the grille never really worked. It didn't really look great when they started to fix that. The interior didn't keep up, and now it looks fantastic, I think, and the interior is just fine, but it's just all of a dated platform when that Lexus has continued to evolve. And what Lincoln has done is abandoned the Edge platform, and they've moved it to what they call a new platform, but it's actually an evolution of the Corsair platform. Now that makes me nervous that they're going to take a smaller platform and stretch it and make it into a bigger car. But the Corsair is based on the Escape, and the Escape platform also spawned the Bronco Sport and is the foundation for the Maverick. So this is proven to be a very strong and very flexible platform. So I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to believe that Ford is getting it right with the platform. Now, one of the things they did that is a super disappointment is they are getting rid of the 6-cylinder engine option. And instead, they're giving you two different options, a 4-cylinder and a hybrid. The standard engine is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with about 250 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. That is slightly less than the base engine from before and mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, which I believe is a carryover. The upgraded engine will be a 2-liter hybrid engine, okay, and it's available on all trim levels, targeted to achieve 310 horsepower. So again, they're getting rid of the 6-cylinder. The hybrid's going to be mated with a CVT, and honestly, I think this is a big disappointment for them. While turbocharged small engines can produce the numbers, they tend to be a little more raspy. They tend to feel a little more economy car, if you will. And I've seen so many comments from people who are like, I want my big engine. I don't want these high-strung turbocharged engines. Maybe it's the way of the future, and we do see other manufacturers moving that way as well. But I find not having the 6-cylinder option to be just a little disappointing. Next up, let's look at the exterior, and I think it is absolutely stunning. I think this is a fantastic looking vehicle, and I see so many touches from other manufacturers. In profile, I get just, especially in that rear half of the vehicle, I get a little bit of some of the Range Rover, maybe like the Velar touches. And the lower body panels, that scallop that's in there, I get a little bit of Ford Explorer, if I'm being honest with you. Maybe not quite what they're looking for, but it still looks pretty good. And up at the front, I love this thin horizontal chrome piece that they got that goes through the headlights and across the front grille. In certain profile perspectives, it gives a little bit of a Volvo flair. It also gives me a little bit of some old Buicks with that chrome strip through the grille. And I want to give Lincoln a gigantic shout out. While they're keeping a grille, and the grille is certainly a little bit larger, they're actually in today's world showing a lot of restraint for what they're doing with the grille. When you think about what BMW and Lexus and other manufacturers are doing, this is showing a lot of restraint. And I like that they make it very vertical. They're not trying to do a lot of weird shaping to it. I think it gives the car some presence without looking as ridiculous as some of the Genesises out there. The one problem I have with it is down at the bottom of the grille, there's a little notch cut out. It looks an awful lot like a Kia to me, but I don't think most people will actually ever notice it. The overall package, while individual pieces are perhaps a little derivative, the overall package is extremely well proportioned to my eyes. I think it looks absolutely fantastic. And yes, if you're curious, this is going to be built in China and then brought to the United States, which I know from many of my commenters, that is a deal killer right off the bat. Inside, it's a dramatic change from the existing model and a really bold move for Lincoln. They really needed this. While they have been leaning into a more traditional American luxury interior, which I really like, kind of a mid-century modern approach, this leaps them into looking like something that's truly modern. But they've still kept some touches from what they've really been doing here. And one of the big highlights, of course, is this huge screen that's shoved out to the base of the window. Now, they say they did this because it's safety, right? That you are going to have to move your eyes less and for less long to actually read the screens. And so by putting two 24-inch screens up there, they're giving you a ton of information in addition to the touch screen that's in closer. But when you look at the portion of the dash that's closer to you, you still get those horizontal lines and that more, I keep calling it mid-century modern approach that they've been taking in their latest interiors. I think that works really well. I'm not sold on the big screen except as a wow factor, but I have a feeling this is going to look a lot better in person than it does in pictures. My biggest complaint is that big shelf on top of the dashboard right there does two very unfortunate things. The first is it just looks like a place to collect dust and dirt. It looks like it's just going to be all the time trying to keep that thing clean. And the second thing is I think it draws the eye to how far away the base of the window is. It makes you realize just how huge dashboards are. And the overwhelming thing I thought when I saw this the first time was Chevy Lumina minivan. Again, I believe it'll look better in person, but I'm going to wait until I see it then to pass final judgment. But in pictures, it looks pretty freaking good. So end result, what do I think? I'm kind of excited about it, but it's very reserved. I think the exterior looks fantastic. I think the engines will perform fine. And I think that the interior, if they're using quality materials that can stand up with the best out there, I think it's going to be a really cool interior and really make Lincoln relevant in the discussion. But do I think that it's going to be the Lexus killer? And I really don't. I do think that these two engine options are going to be a little limiting to buyers on a vehicle this size. I have some reservations about the platform being the structural rigidity of what's going to come out of it, and being built in China, what quality build are we actually going to get, especially with Ford's recent challenges for warranty and recall. But overall, if this looks and acts and performs as good in person as it looks in pictures, I think it's going to be a strong success for Lincoln. But one solid modern vehicle is not enough to save the whole brand. I don't think this is enough to knock off the Germans or the Japanese, but I think it's a solid entry, and I kind of hope a lot of this is forecasting a future direction for Lincoln, because I kind of like what I'm seeing. Let me know your thoughts below, guys. Appreciate you being here.